A number of years ago, I read a fantastic book by Susan Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Her main premise is that most of us feel fear, plus anxiety, angst, dread, worry, trepidation, imposter syndrome, and they all have the potential to hold us back from taking action. Now, Jeffers doesn't suggest we learn to tame our fear, but rather to hear it out, accept it, then get on with things. I'm reaching back to her lessons now as I prepare for my walk of the high route in the Pyrenees Mountains. It's a challenging 500-mile off-trail alpine thru hike on the frontier of Spain, France, and Andorra. Along with rugged mountains, there are also charming villages to wander through, other languages to hear and attempt to speak, plus cheese. Now, I've had my eye on this route ever since I completed a thru hike of the Traverse of the Alps on the GR5 or Gers 5. But it's only now that I've been able to carve out the 50-plus days I need to give it a shot. Am I excited? Why, yes. Am I ready to roll? Of course. Am I scared out of my mind? Well, that goes without saying. You're listening to Blissful Hiker Podcast. I'm Allison Young, the solo, female, middle-aged, titanium-reinforced, neurological movement disorder manager, cancer thriver, and long-distance backpacker, blissful hiker. This podcast is a series of personal essays I call audio narratives. They couple storytelling, found sound, and my own flute playing, and I explore a journey of self-discovery where I share the sometimes unglamorous but vital truth about empowerment. We're badass people, and we don't need permission to blaze our own trails in this journey we call life. If you enjoy these podcasts, you can support them through Patreon. There's a link in the show notes, or go to blissfulhikerpodcast.com. So maybe it comes as a shock to you that even though I am the blissful hiker, I'm also a human being. I know full well I have zero control over weather, other people, the terrain, if stores are going to be open or not, my aging body rebelling, etc., etc. And once that list starts scrolling, usually in the middle of the night, I'd prefer to curl up in a ball of my comfort zone. I'd be just peachy keen pushing that big, scary, rocky route in foreign lands as far away from becoming a reality as possible. A reality that might actually ask for some form of commitment from me. But that would make for a boring life, wouldn't it? Helen Keller puts it best. She reminds us that security is a myth, so why cling to it? She said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. So here's one of the ways I uncurl my fearful little self out of a comfort zone crouch and get moving towards scary, daring, and incredibly fulfilling adventures. I start by talking to my fears. I ask them, what if? What if the weather goes to hell? What if the store closes before I get there? What if I meet some real duds along the way? What if the trail is too hard? It's a gentle challenge, a kind of nudge for the fears to come out of hiding and reveal themselves fully for what they are. And it's at that time that I ask them a second question. I say, okay, if that happens, then what? And it's within the answers to the second question, then what, that I'm able to set the fear aside and see what action needs to be taken. It helps me be more rational than emotional. It helps me see really what I'm afraid of and helps me break it down into steps. So it goes a little bit like this. If the weather goes to hell, then what? Well, I could take a few days off in a lovely Basque village and wait for the weather to improve. I could choose an alternate route to hike that's less affected by bad weather. I could even quit the hike. The then what forces me to deal with possibilities before they happen, rather than being paralyzed by my anxiety. That might mean packing the right gear for eventualities, or ensuring I have an escape plan in place. But even then, the questions can continue. What if I bring the wrong gear? Then what? Well, if I bring the wrong gear, I can buy what I need at gear shops along the way. But what if the gear shops are closed? Then what? If they're closed, I can wear everything I brought. Or I can find a gîte d'étape or a hotel to stay in. Or heck, I just shiver. And so it goes, and so it goes. Every adventure out of our comfort zone is realized through a mix of calculated risks and a leap of faith. But when you keep asking, then what, to your list of fears, you begin to run out of excuses. And you can take a breath and move through fear into a life full of adventures, large and small. Right now, I'm on my way to Spain to walk the high route of the Pyrenees from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. So when I return in the fall, we'll pick up with season number 6 of the podcast. You can always follow my adventures as they go on Instagram or at the website, blissfulhiker.com. And until we meet again, kia kaha and happy trails.